ABC7 Bangor.
This is ABC7 News at Noon.
The City of Bangor will soon be launching a program where social workers will be called to welfare checks instead of police officers. We got the details coming up. Good afternoon, I'm Susan Farley. Election day is getting closer. The candidates running for governor squared off in a debate last night. And police continue to search for answers following a school shooting in Missouri. Thank you for joining us. We have more on these and other stories in just a moment. First, let's check in with meteorologist Conrad Sapinski. Conrad?
Thank you so much, Susan. Our first weather is brought to you by Luigi and Fredericks across from Eastern Maine Medical Center, serving the greater Bangor area for over 65 years. So another sticky and muggy day outside today, which is going to continue tomorrow. And then look what happens by Thursday. We start to drop in dew points, and then we're going to feel comfortable Friday and right in time for the weekend. We had a couple of showers earlier today. Most of that has cleared out of the area, so enjoy it while it lasts because more rain will be back. I know it just keeps coming in and in. Right now, the Northeast is not looking too bad, but just to the west by Chicago, going into Indiana, more chances of showers are there, and that's going to continue to move into our state very, very shortly. Today, though, temperatures around 66 degrees, and we will have some very scattered light rain showers in the area, mostly cloud cover with lots of dry hours. Tonight, though, very mild temperatures, almost 25 degrees above our average low for this time of year, hovering around 57 degrees. Cloudy skies, some drizzle will be possible once again, and areas of dense fog will start to develop. Tomorrow, though, heavier rain will be back, so don't forget your umbrellas for that morning commute as temperatures really hover warm and well above average into those mid-60s. Today, though, we'll have lots of cloud cover with some sprinkles in the air and temperatures well above average in the mid-60s. Susan?
Thank you, Conrad. Bangor will soon be launching a program where social workers will be called to welfare checks instead of police officers. Matthew Juroncic has the story.
In an effort to minimize interactions between law enforcement and people experiencing a mental health crisis, this city is creating a community assistance team to deal with these issues.
We're going to kind of cut out the middleman of the police so the police can answer police calls.
The Bangor Police Department was granted $285,000 in this year's annual budget to create the program. Sergeant McAmley says this program will greatly benefit patrol officers as it will positively impact their workloads.
We're looking at optimistically a 50% reduction in the number of welfare checks we have to go to in a year, which would be approximately 2,000 calls for service.
This team would be responsible for calls involving people struggling with mental health crises but don't pose an actual threat. McAmley understands that there will likely be a period of adjustment.
I expect that we'll have a couple of officers that are going to have to go with these groups, or whoever goes out, this group for a while, and just to help them along and learn their role. And we expect that, and we're ready to deal with it until they can kind of get up and going on their own.
McAmley is optimistic that the program will make a difference both for officers and the community they serve.
If this works, or if even parts of this work, we can make parts of this work, I think that'll be fantastic. Maybe it won't be perfect, and we're going to have to tweak it along the way. So what? As long as we get something that we can work with and fix, if there's a part of it that's broken, we're moving ahead.
Matthew Juroncic, ABC7 and Fox 22.
The Waldo County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help locating a missing girl. They say 14-year-old Ariana Montgomery was last seen on October 14th in Orland. Montgomery left the residence with a friend and has not returned home. She has been in contact with her family by Snapchat but hasn't been heard from since last Saturday. Any information should be directed to Detective Casey Ashe at the Waldo County Sheriff's Office at 207-338-2040. The Kennebec County Grand Jury has indicted a Kennebec County Sheriff's deputy. 29-year-old Daniel Ross of West Gardner was arrested in August after a report was made to the Kennebec County Sheriff's Office that Ross had been assaulting his wife while off duty. Deputies contacted Maine State Police after speaking with his wife. As a result of their investigation, troopers arrested Deputy Ross while he was on duty. He's currently on paid administrative leave. Ross was indicted on 15 counts, including domestic violence assault, domestic violence criminal threatening with a dangerous weapon, unlawful sexual contact, and gross sexual assault. An Oregon man was also indicted by the grand jury. 26-year-old Damian Sanchez was arrested by Augusta police after he allegedly raped his girlfriend, struck her in the head with a beer bottle, and strangled her at an Augusta hotel in August. Police say their 1-year-old son was with them when the alleged incident happened. And the man who was the subject of a 3-day search after escaping from the Riverview Psychiatric Center in Augusta was indicted. Officials say 32-year-old Anthony Walk was placed at the center after he was found not criminally responsible for multiple charges of theft and burglary. According to police, he escaped the facility 24 hours after being placed there. Walk was eventually found in New Hampshire. He was indicted for escape. 2 people were arrested in Clifton Monday morning on drug charges.
This morning we conducted a search warrant for the investigation of drugs. And during this search warrant, 2 subjects were arrested. One was going to be a male. His name's Michael Drake, about 54 years old. And the second one was a female named Jessica Lovely. She's about 36 years old.
The arrest happened at 40 Scotts Pond Road. The sheriff's office says a search was conducted at approximately 7 a.m. 315 grams of methamphetamine, almost 5 grams of fentanyl, and an undisclosed amount of drugs were discovered. The search comes after a month-long investigation into drug trafficking at the residence. Lovely has been charged with aggravated trafficking of scheduled drugs and violation of conditions of release, while Drake was charged with aggravated trafficking of scheduled drugs and unlawful trafficking of scheduled drugs. Coming up on ABC 7 News at noon, more than 400,000 students took nationwide tests earlier this year. We'll find out how Maine students did when we come back.
I served our country during the Gulf War. We were fighting for freedom in the Middle East. But in Washington, Bruce Poliquin would take away freedoms Mainers have earned. He voted for a nationwide abortion ban and said he supported changing the Constitution. Poliquin would allow politicians to stand between women and their doctors, even in cases of rape and incest. We didn't fight for our freedoms for politicians like Bruce Poliquin to take them away.
DCCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
If you were hurt because of exposure to the toxic water at Camp Lejeune, Congress has made it possible for you to recover a settlement. Former Marine attorney James Beardsley wants to help you.
Call now to see if you qualify. Call 222-2222.
Joe Baldacci was born, raised, and educated right here in Bangor. He's promoted and supported hundreds of millions of dollars in commercial and economic development projects. He has fought to protect vital services from drastic budget cuts. In his first term in the state Senate, Joe delivered for his constituents in Bangor and Herman on jobs, school funding, expansion of health care, and protecting the environment. Joe Baldacci, delivering results for the people of Bangor and Herman.
When the Granite Shop wants to know the weather on MDI, they log on to foxbangor.com. At the Granite Shop in Sedgwick and in Trenton, we have more inventory than all other shops in the state combined. Fastest turnaround, too.
A Day in the War on the Middle Class by Jared Golden and the Democrats. That day, Jared Golden voted to raise taxes on low and middle income Americans, double the size of the IRS, drive up home heating and gas prices, and empower new regulators who will hurt Maine's lobster industry.
But it's not too late to do something about it.
Yeah, we can stop their war on the middle class. Defeat Jared Golden. The NRCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Old Dominion, reigning CMA and ACM Vocal Group of the Year. No Bad Vibes Tour. Saturday, April 15th, Cross Insurance Center. Featuring Whiskey Jam favorites Frank Ray, Cassie Ashton, and Graylin James. Tickets on sale this Friday at Ticketmaster.com. Old Dominion, live in concert. Brought to you by Messina Touring Group.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
We have an update for you. The Waldo County Sheriff's Office says Ariana Montgomery has been found safely and been reunited with her family. Police continue to search for answers following a terrifying school shooting in Missouri. A 16-year-old girl and a 61-year-old woman were killed when gunmen opened fire at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School in St. Louis Monday morning. The gunman was quickly stopped by police during an exchange of gunfire. Police said 7 other victims, ranging from 15 to 16 years old, were hospitalized with injuries, including gunshot wounds. All were currently listed in stable condition, according to police. During a press conference Monday evening, police identified the suspect as 19-year-old Orlando Harris, a former student who graduated from the high school last year. Police said Harris has no prior criminal history, and they're working to establish a motive. They said there are suspicions that there may have been some mental illness that he was experiencing. Israeli forces raided a stronghold of an armed group that occupied the West Bank's second largest city, blowing up an explosives lab and engaging in a firefight, the military said Tuesday. 5 Palestinians were killed and 20 were wounded, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. The overnight raid was one of the deadliest in the West Bank in 2020 and comes as a time of escalating tensions. More than 125 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli-Palestinian fighting in the West Bank and East Jerusalem this year. The fighting has been surging since a series of Palestinian attacks killed 19 people in Israel in the spring. Just 2 weeks from today, Maine voters will decide who will lead the state as governor for the next 4 years. Last night, people got to hear from both Governor Janet Mills and former Governor Paul LePage on where they stand on issues during a debate with our media partners, WGME TV and the Bangor Daily News. Reporter Owen Kingsley gives us a look.
But those checks have done a lot to help people address inflation.
Monday night's gubernatorial debate began with Governor Janet Mills touting her accomplishments in her first term in office, including the $850 relief checks to most Maine people that were given out earlier this year. Former Governor Paul LePage was quick to criticize, calling the relief checks a gimmick.
This governor spends money like a drunken sailor. My opponent, she hasn't made it better. She's making it worse. Her policies pushing higher electric prices,
which launched into solutions for lowering the cost of electricity. LePage pushing for investments in hydropower dams, with Mills arguing for solar and wind and blaming LePage for not doing more to diversify power sources.
Our energy prices have increased because of our dependence on fossil fuels, pure and simple.
The candidates disagreed on how best to push back against new federal lobstering restrictions. LePage wants the state to join a lawsuit against NOAA, claiming Mills wasn't doing enough.
I fought the Trump administration, I'm fighting the Biden administration, and I will continue to fight the president and the federal government.
After the Supreme Court reversed Roe v. Wade earlier this year, both candidates were asked if they have any desire to change current laws surrounding access to abortion here in Maine.
As long as I'm governor, a woman's right to reproductive health care will not be considered dispensable, and my veto pen will stand in the way of any effort to undermine, roll back, or outright eliminate the right to safe and legal abortion in Maine.
I would prefer adoption over abortion. But the law of the state of Maine is the law, and I honored it for 8 years, and I will continue to.
And in their final statements, a direct plea to Maine people for their vote.
My record is clear. I have the skill set to navigate through recessions and high inflation times. I appreciate your vote on November 8th.
But in me, you will find a governor who tells you the truth, who works to fight problems, not people, and who will deliver solutions, not vitriol. I would be grateful for your vote on November 8th.
After the break, we'll take a look at how higher nutrition standards are impacting what your child eats at school. We'll be right back.
If you've been hurt in a car accident, watch out.
Watch out. The insurance company may try to tell you that you don't need a lawyer.
Watch out. The insurance company may try to settle before you're done with all your medical treatments.
Don't trust that insurance company after your accident. You could miss out on a lot of money. Call the twos and we'll watch out for you.
Lowry & Associates watched out for me and got me $275,000.
Call the twos. We win for you.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do? Call 222-2222.
A Day in the War on the Middle Class by Jared Golden and the Democrats. That day, Jared Golden voted to raise taxes on low and middle income Americans, double the size of the IRS, drive up home heating and gas prices, and empower new regulators who will hurt Maine's lobster industry.
But it's not too late to do something about it.
Yeah, we can stop their war on the middle class. Defeat Jared Golden. The NRCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Go get it. Go.
Hey, I was hoping you'd be here.
I think they like each other.
I'm Charles. Lunch?
Vanessa. I like lunch.
Bacon. For a limited time, get 2 Bacon McDouble burgers for $3.99. Or get 1 with a McChicken for only $3.99. Only at McDonald's.
I grew up homeless starting at age 11. I understand what it's like to struggle. Right now, senior citizens, our families, are struggling with high grocery bills, home heating oil prices, and electric bills. I get it. Janet Mills hasn't made it better. She's making it worse. Policies pushing high electric bills, home heating costs, considering gas tax increases, they are just wrong. With your vote, we can fix it.
Joe Biden is crushing Maine. And who does Jared Golden support?
Golden's backing Biden.
Jared Golden said Joe Biden has
Leadership that the country needs right now.
higher taxes, record inflation, and still.
Golden's backing Biden.
In D.C., Joe Biden relies on Jared Golden's votes.
President Joe Biden, I'm asking you to vote for Jared Golden.
Jared Golden says he's independent, but anytime it matters, Golden's backing Biden.
I'm Bruce Poliquin, and I approve this message.
The legal battle over President Biden's student loan relief program is heating up. Late Monday, the Biden administration responded to a ruling from the federal appeals court that put the president's new student loan forgiveness program on hold. The White House is urging Americans to continue to apply as the lawsuit from several Republican-led states seeks to put an end to the plan. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has more from Washington.
With student debt relief for millions of Americans on hold, the Biden administration is firing back.
The president's going to do everything that he can to make sure that we get this done.
Late Monday, the Justice Department filing a response to a federal appeals court that sided with the lawsuit from Republican-led states and temporarily blocked the debt forgiveness plan. The DOJ arguing the states failed to prove they would be injured by the plan. The legal battle is putting millions of borrowers like Cleopatra Melton in limbo.
I'm extremely worried that it's not going to go through.
The plan cancels up to $10,000 in student loan debt for individuals earning less than $125,000 a year, or as much as $20,000 for eligible borrowers who were also Pell Grant recipients. The lawsuit filed by 6 Republican-led states argues President Biden overstepped his authority.
We do hope that it is successful. We hope that we all have standing and we can push back against this outrageous spending that the president is doing.
With 22 million applications already in, the White House is urging Americans to continue to apply for the debt relief, saying the court's decision doesn't stop the Education Department from accepting and reviewing applications.
I don't want to hear it from MAGA Republicans, officials who had hundreds of thousands of dollars of debts, even millions of dollars in pandemic relief loans forgiven, who now are attacking me for helping working class and middle class Americans.
A reply from the GOP-led states is expected today. Several other legal challenges to the president's plan are also making their way through the courts. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
National Drug Take-Back Day is fast approaching, falling at the end of the month. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, working in conjunction with most police departments and sheriff's offices in the area, will collect any unused medications or prescriptions that are no longer needed on October 29th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. According to the DEA, some addictions start when in the home are used unused medications either get into the wrong hands or are abused. For a list of locations or drop-off, you can visit dea.gov/takebackday. Does your kid's cafeteria tray look a little different than yours did back in the day? Those changes may be keeping them healthier.
Higher nutrition standards are having a big impact on children's health, especially when it comes to school lunch. Newly released research shows schools are benefiting from Obama-era legislation. Scientists from the Rand Corporation looked at the health of thousands of low-income elementary school kids before and after the standards took effect. Prior to their implementation, obesity was becoming more and more common with each passing year. But after, obesity rates in that group didn't increase over time. As schools battle tight meal budgets, some advocates fear what would happen if standards are dropped again. According to this study, it might mean taking a step backwards. With this Medical Minute, I'm Jay O'Brien, ABC News.
When we return, Conrad Sapinski has your 5-day forecast.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message.
Veterans need a congressman who's got their backs. Jared Golden does. Jared's a veteran himself and worked with Republicans and Democrats to get the VA to build an inpatient facility in Maine to treat mental health and substance use disorders. Bruce Poliquin didn't have my back. Poliquin helped create a commission that wants to close VA facilities across Maine, forcing veterans to travel even further for VA care. Veterans can't trust Bruce Poliquin.
I was a public health nurse for 29 years. I went into the homes of my neighbors, including many seniors, and cared for them. Then Paul LePage became governor, and everything changed. He kicked seniors off Maine's low-cost prescription drug plan. He cut a Social Security program when it was needed most, and even opposed Meals on Wheels funding. How cruel is that? We can't go back to Paul LePage.
The top funder of Better Maine is the Democratic Governors Association.
After 9/11, Jared Golden joined the Marines and served the country he loves. When he returned, he ran for office to serve the state he calls home. He passed legislation to cap the cost of insulin for seniors and lower drug prices for people across Maine. But Bruce Poliquin, he went from Wall Street to Washington to serve himself, taking thousands from drug companies and voting against capping costs. Jared Golden, from here, for us. Moderate PAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Feel the difference of alpaca apparel from the Blue Alpaca Ranch and Store in Belfast. Stop by their ranch location to interact with these amazing animals and enjoy the beautiful Maine outdoors with your very own alpaca walk. Shop in-store or online today and take advantage of their free nationwide shipping. With their incredible selection of socks, sweaters, hats, and more, experience the unique qualities that alpaca fiber brings with the Blue Alpaca. Feel the difference.
Welcome back. Let's check your full forecast with Conrad Sapinski. Conrad?
Thank you so much. Our Maine weather today is brought to you by Scott's Recreation, New England's largest trailer dealer, home of Maine's lowest camper and tractor prices. Locations in Turner, Manchester, Herman, and Orono, Maine. All right, one of those days, once again, more rain has arrived. Luckily for us, it has moved on out of the region, so morning rain has followed by cloudy skies right now. Most of the Northeast is actually clear as well. Just a couple of showers in upstate New York. But the main deal is right now in the Midwest by Chicago, that heavier batch of rain, that's going to continue to move north and east. And guess what happens? We get in on that rain, especially overnight tonight and then into tomorrow, where heavier rain will be arriving tomorrow, mostly in the afternoon, and then lasting most of the day before finally starting to taper off by the overnight hours tomorrow. And then by Thursday, looks pretty good. Maybe a couple of sprinkles still left over, but we're thinking anywhere from ½ inch to an inch of rain. There will be some locations with around 1.5 inches of rain, as Augusta is showing they might get 1.06 inches. That's a rough estimate, but there will be locations with around 1.5 inches. The Muggy meter does show higher dew points are in the area. That's going to last tomorrow, and then look what happens by Thursday morning. They really start to drop as that rain starts to move out of the region. It drops, so Friday and right in time for the weekend, dew points will be low, and that means we're going to feel comfortable. So it's going to be really nice to enjoy the weather outside. Our average high around 55 degrees, so we're going to have well above average temperatures today, tomorrow, and look what happens by Thursday, close to 70 degrees before we cool off, near average on Friday, and then once again climbing that ladder into the 60s by Sunday and into beginning of next week. Today, though, warm temperatures sticking around once again, 66 degrees. It will be raining here and there. This will be scattered, so there will be a lot of dry hours today. Tonight, though, rain, same thing. Scattered rain, mostly a drizzle in the area. Dense fog will be an issue, so leave a little extra early for that morning commute. But then later on tomorrow, lots of rain will be moving in. Temperatures in the mid-60s, and our extended forecast outlook does show dry weather finally starting to return. Friday and Saturday, dry conditions, lots of sunshine, and the temperatures in the mid to upper 50s.
Thank you, Conrad. Kids in Bangor were invited to take part in a fun Halloween event. The Parks and Recreation Department will hold a special gathering Wednesday night called Touch a Truck Treat. It will allow kids to do some safe trick-or-treating while getting out to check out emergency vehicles and more.
It kind of combines two of our bigger events, and it's right before Halloween, so it's not going to interfere with their Halloween plans, but give them a chance to get out and kind of honk the horns, touch the trucks, sit in them, and do all that fun stuff.
People are encouraged to dress in their Halloween costumes and enter Bass Park from the agricultural entrance on Buck Street. It will all take place Wednesday from 6 p.m. until 7:30 p.m. The event is free of charge. A father and son team are getting ready to take on one of the most famous vertical rock formations in the world, Yosemite's El Capitan. Joe Baker and his 8-year-old son Sam are getting ready to make their ascent Tuesday morning. The family is based in Colorado Springs, and together they climb mountains all over the world, hoping to inspire more parents to do adventures with their kids. The Bakers have been training 3 days a week to prepare for this climb, which will be a cold one. They're expecting below freezing temperatures, but they have packed really warm sleeping bags.
This route will take about 4 days. We'll have to sleep on the wall 3 nights. If everything goes right and our strategy goes perfectly. And so we will probably finish on Friday, the 28th. And so it's a big ordeal.
With the middle name Adventure, Sam is ready for the challenge. If he succeeds, he will be the youngest person ever to climb El Capitan. That's all for ABC 7 News at noon. Thanks for watching. I'm Susan Farley. We'll see you this evening on ABC 7 News at 6. Are you kidding me?
Did you know that it's possible to buy the wrong type of flooring for your home? Whether you're a do-it-yourselfer or professional contractor, the experts at Don DeKalb Mainwood Floors are here to help, offering solid pro advice from choosing the right material and color to installation. Don DeKalb features the highest quality hardwood flooring sourced from lumber right here in Maine, from Maine traditions. Not only will you get a floor you'll love, you'll